Okay, so let's look at question number 12. What is the correct formula for sodium phosphate? So, let's try to break this apart into what their ions would look like. So for sodium, it is Na+, and phosphate is an example of a polyatomic ion, and its structure is PO4, and it has a 3- charge. So I'm just going to take note that for a neutral compound, we need 3 Na+ ions to neutralize PO4 3-, since Na+ has a +1 charge and PO4 3- has a -3 charge. So the most stable form of sodium phosphate will be written as Na3PO4. So we can also write out its structure. Since it has a pretty interesting structure, basically we have our phosphine, and it has a double bonded oxygen, and then 3 more oxygens, single bonded oxygens that all have that minus charge. And then I'm going to draw out what the sodiums would look like. They're over here, reacting with the negatively charged oxygens. Okay, so that is the structure of sodium phosphate. So let's see what our junior tutor said. The correct formula for sodium phosphate is Na3PO4. This is so since sodium phosphate is an ionic compound and is made up of sodium ions and phosphate ions. This means that as long as we know the formula of the ions, we can determine the formula of the compound by combining them. We must also know the charges of the ions involved. Since a phosphate ion has a charge of -3 and sodium has a charge of +1, 3 sodiums are needed to make a neutral compound. This can be simplified by using the absolute value of the charge of the ion and place it as the subscript of the counter ion. This follows that the sodium ion would have a subscript of 3 from the absolute value of the charge of the phosphate ion, while the phosphate ion would have a subscript of 1 from the absolute value of the charge of the sodium ion. So kind of an odd sentence. While the phosphate ion would have a subscript of 1 from the absolute value of the charge of the sodium ion. Yeah. Thus, Na3PO4 is the formula for sodium phosphate. This solution is correct. Okay, so I think I have one more question.